Well, if it isn't my old companion. How many people have you killed since we last met? Hundreds? Thousands? Keep at it, friend, and someday you might even reach my count, if I start to get lazy. That I have. But not on purpose. I was killing an army of them dwarven machines not more than a week ago, friend. And when I say an army, I mean an army. And these ruins, they're so big you could fit the whole lot of them in one room. When the sound of that battle echoed off the walls, I thought of the arena. I thought of home. Then later, I remembered there was an entire city made out of dwarven ruins. Seemed like just the place for a guy like me to be. But, I think I'm ready to start adventuring again, if you're game. Look what the tide brought in.
It's good to see you too, Gar. The sleeping giant is not the same without you there to wake it up.
Maybe. But I bet Orknar enjoys the peace and quiet. Of course, with all three of us gone, I imagine that place ain't much different from a morgue. Wouldn't be much of a party without you, whether it's frying a horker or slaying a bandit. It's always better with company.
See, Riverwood is far more lively with you around. Everyone still asks about you, even people from out of town.
All good things, I hope.
Of course! I thought this one Khajiit wouldn't call you by name. He kept calling you... how I forget. It was something furry. Help me out, my hero. What is brown and furry and walks on all fours? I do as well, but it was not such a large animal. It was a type of dog, but I can't recall what.
I know back in the arena, I started out as a pit dog. But I haven't been one of those for ages.
That's it! He kept calling you a pit dog, which doesn't make much sense. If anything, you're a horker.
If I was a horker, I reckon that would make me a cannibal. But I wouldn't mind meeting this stranger and seeing if maybe a warhammer to the chest can't change his opinion. That it does. It tends to leave people at a loss for words. And I'm pretty sure I know why this little bird is chirping my name. You see, there's this underground arena I've been hearing about. The whole setup was a little fishy, so I told them no thanks. Maybe now they're trying to use that to their advantage. As if I'm too much of a soft gut to fight in their arena.
Why do you think it was a setup? Wouldn't they want a famous gladiator to be a part of the arena?
At first, maybe. Just to bring in the crowds. But I ain't exactly what you call an entertaining fighter. Most of my fights end pretty quick, and I don't play to the crowd. The only thing I got is my name and my record. And all my time in the Imperial City, I ain't never lost a fight. So, if I lose in this arena, it'll give them something the folks in Cyrodiil ain't never seen. My death. The only question now is where to find these people, and wash my name out of their mouths.
Well, the person I talked to was headed towards Whiterun. I thought about following him as he was very suspicious, but then Yaramir came yelling up behind him asking if he wanted his robes washed.
Then we ought to head to the Bannered Mare. You should lead the way, lest my stomach take us to Lake Yogrim.
Hello there, stranger. What can Jashar do for you?
Jashar, don't tell me you're the fiend who's been spreading these lies.
Good. So you are in Skyrim after all. Jashar would ask you to sit down, but there is not enough room for one of your size. Not to mention, it would be rude to your lady friend.
You didn't answer my question, Furball. What's all this business about me being a pit dog, hmm?
You misunderstand, Jashar. It is a term of endearment. We started out as pit dogs, and it is a reminder of how far we have come.
I never did understand half of what you were saying. Leave it to me to overreact. What brings you to Skyrim? I'm going to take a wild guess and say it ain't the Horkers.
Is that why you're here? By the moons, you never change. Jashar assumed you were here for the same reason as he. For this new underground arena.
Don't tell me you left the Imperial City to fight in some basement. There won't be half the coin or glory fighting in this arena, friend.
It is not Jashar's choice. He ran into much trouble with the Blade Master. There were accusations of gambling, bribery, and throwing fights. You know Jashar to be a cat of integrity, but this Blade Master had an agenda. In any case, this new arena, they are willing to look past Jashar's previous transgressions. It is fledgling, but it has promise. It just needs more fighters like yourself to join the ranks.
Shouldn't leave things around to trip over.
Sorry, old friend. My arena days are over. And from the sound of it, this ain't much of an arena so much as it is a pit fight. Besides, I don't like it. Something seems fishy about the whole deal. That may work for you, given you know all the angles, but not me.
That is unfortunate. But Jashar knows better than to argue with you. Perhaps, though, you will do him a favor and watch his first match. Jashar is a stranger in these lands, and he will be more comfortable if he knows he is amongst friends.
I, for one, would love to come. An underground arena match? That sounds exciting, my heroes.
Well, I suppose there ain't no harm in just watching. Besides, it's been a long time since I've seen an arena match that didn't end in one swing.
Yeah, Jashar always did like to take his time. That is why he is a crowd favorite. So, if it pleases you, he will mark the location of his next fight on the map. It changes from week to week, you see. They say the fights are held in cages, in barracks, on islands, and in cellars. As crowds are thin, it is dependent on a handful of sponsors. Soon, as the coin flows and the crowds grow, there will be enough to build an arena to rival Cyrodiil's. But for Jashar, this will have to do.
Then it's settled. The three of us will come to cheer you on.
You've made it. Wonderful. Jashar will have at least 3 voices to rally him when he is struggling. This way.
I will try to be as loud as 10 men. I suspect Gar will have little trouble doing the same.
Just make sure you give us something to cheer about, friend. What's all this about, friend? I don't like where those arrows are pointed.
Yashar is sorry. This was the only way. But in the end, you will all thank him.
If you think a handful of archers can stop us, Jashar, then you've completely lost your mind.
Ah, but Yashar knows all the angles. He knows that an innocent pat on the back can carry with it a needle of poison. In fact, it should be taking effect right about now. The archers, they are only here to buy it more time. You're up. Good. Jashar was worried the poison might have been too much, considering it was made for that mammoth of a Redguard. The Redguard fights in the pit as we speak. He will no doubt crush the poor sap that is up against him. We must hurry if we are to watch. The girl has her own match, but somewhere else. They will take us to her when our match is done. You will notice you have all your belongings. This is to prove to you Jashar did not poison you out of malice. In his prime, our friend was a great arena fighter. Few can last so long without playing the politics. If not for his strange affinity for lesser creatures, he would have been Grand Champion. Of course, the bigger the title, the more adept one must be outside the arena. His choice to leave may have saved his life. Here, in the pits, I will handle the politics and keep us all safe. There is our gladiator now. Jashar prefers this environment to the arena. It is far more intimate.
Jashar! You bloody snake! As soon as I'm done with this one, I'm gonna drive you through the stone.
Do you not see Jashar is on your side? But we'll see how angry you are when your pockets are overflowing with gold. Now, this is when Jashar's hard work pays off. Jashar has spent many moons bad-mouthing our friend, saying he is a pit dog and a drinker of milk. Even a victory today will seem like a fluke against a weak opponent. We will have good action for a few more fights before their opinion sways.
Except there ain't gonna be any more fights. Save the one that's about to happen right now.
If you dislike gold that much, it cannot be helped. But here is your share. 500 septims. However, your friend and the girl are committed to at least one more fight. Bowing out now will cost us all that, and more.
Zora! What have you done with her?
Nothing. It was a poor choice of words. The girl is not a prisoner, no more than you. She has her own fight, but Jashar could not risk the three of you strong-arming your way out of here. He has debts to pay.
If she's lost a hair on her head, you hear me? One hair, and God's as my witness, I'll shove your tail so far down your mouth, you'll have two on the other end.
Do not worry. Jashar would not cross you. Nor does he want to be called Two-Tails. In fact, as a measure of good faith, your companion and I are fighting together. And, as fortune would have it, our opponents are favored 3-1. Would you like to place a wager on yourself? You can bet up to 500 gold. That comes to a return of 1,200 septims. It would be foolish not to, unless you plan on leaving your gold to your kin. After all, the pit is no place for thieves. The wishes of the dead are respected here. Did Jashar say 1200? His mistake. Jashar is uneducated and very poor at arithmetic. Excellent. Both you and Jashar will be much wealthier by night's end.
Jashar? It looks like your match has gotten pushed back. Your dance partner got a case of the brain rot and fled.
How unfortunate. What does this mean for Jashar's bets?
You've got Nocturnal's luck, Cat. Different pair, but the same odds. The crowd doesn't think much of your chances. In fact, not a single patron has come to complain. Seems like they weren't betting on them so much as they're betting against you.
Alas, Jashar's reputation precedes himself. It will likely be another hour or so before the fight begins. Do not worry. This is all going according to plan. Jashar suggests the two of you grab a drink and mingle. When the others arrive, the fair lady will let you know.
So, you're the poor sod they teamed up with Jashar, huh? I almost feel sorry for you. That cat's got 9 lives, and he's gonna need them all in the pit. Of course, seeing as you only got 1, you better be damn good, or damn slippery, if you wanna survive. I don't know you at all, but I've been watching him, and that Khajiit is what my friends in elsewhere call a house cat. Nobody does, least of all him. I'm guessing that's why he worked so hard to get his opponent replaced. The fair lady will tell you that they lost their backbone, but what she won't tell you is how. You see, when we found out that the fight was going to be here, I overheard Jashar muttering to himself about the blood on the walls and the cage. So I paid the fair lady for some information, and it turns out that your previous cage partners were vampires. I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Could be the chance of infection was high, and this ain't exactly the place for a potion or a priest. The point is, he wanted things changed, so he changed them. Must have had something to do with that Argonian that was here the other day. This one was stiff as a poker, and clearly out of his element. We would have made him for a Jarl's man, if it weren't a bloody lizard. But as soon as he vanished, so did our blood-sucking friends. Not a coincidence, if you ask me. A fighter, like you. But I've been known to do some recruiting, if the prize is right. See, in every arena you got your wolves, and you got your dogs. The wolves are like your Red Guard friend. They draw the crowd. Now, the dogs are different. They don't have the sharpest fangs, or the thickest hides, but they make up for it with grit. When a wolf takes a bite out of you, it rips away a chunk of flesh. When a dog sinks its teeth into you, It never lets go. In the pit, that's what makes for a good show. And I got a keen eye for dogs.
So, you're one of Jashar's friends? Or should I say, friend, seeing as you'd be the first. They call me the Fair Lady. What can I do for you? I do more than handle them. I set the odds. Now, you might be thinking, what's this old hag know about fighters? Not a sodding thing. But it ain't my job to pick the winners. It's to set the odds. And to do that, you have to know the betters. Not the overgrown oafs they're betting on. Every fight's got their bride and their groom. If I set the odds right, then you've got an equal number of folks on both sides of the aisle. You got too many on one side, you change the odds so the rest of the patrons sit on the other. That's the only way to guarantee we come out ahead. It doesn't matter which fighter wins, because we get a piece of every winning bet. We don't take a cut from the fighters. It don't make much sense, seeing as the two of you can wager against each other. Of course you might not get the same odds. That's why we handle the wagers. Fair's fair. Because I handle the gold. When you win, I pay. And when you lose, I don't. Fair's fair. If they do, Thorn will make sure every part of them gets crooked. Ain't that right, Thorn?
Yep.
I'm sorry, but there ain't enough coin in your pocket to make me answer that. That's right. It's the best way to operate outside the law. You stay in one place, and one day even a drunken lout will stumble upon it. The Jarl's men ain't much smarter than that, but that makes them smart enough. That's why we rarely use this place. Oh, save for special matches, like with your friend there. Most days I'm working in some dirty cellar, sitting on a stool with more splinters than hairs on me head. But I'll take a few needles in the rear if it keeps us out of trouble. Fair's fair. Then you're in luck. It looks like our friends from Hammerfell have arrived. Last call for bets. 3-1 for Jashar and the New Blood. 2-7 for the warriors from Hammerfell. So, you live to see another day, Cat?
It was a lucky win for Jashar. His partner did all of the work. Here is your share. A handsome sum, and well deserved. You and Jashar make for an excellent team. This could be the beginning of a very profitable relationship. Unfortunately, Jashar still has business here, but you will find your friend to the north, at the peak of the Sky Temple ruins. Trust Jashar when he tells you. She is safe.
This ain't over, Cat. Seems to me there's only one of two outcomes. Either Zora's safe, and I beat you bloody, or she ain't, and I beat you dead.
Jashar still hopes you will choose a third option, but he understands. He will take his beating when you return.
Damn. As much as I hate to admit it, that pot of Khajiit's stew will have to wait. Let's go to those ruins and see if we can't even the odds. Then we got the same feeling, and it ain't gonna go away until we get to those ruins. I know the little diamond can take care of herself, but that don't make it any easier to be here when she's there. So come on. Hopefully, we can make it back here in time for dinner. You all right? We got here as soon as we could.
Oh no, I was in great peril, but then two legendary heroes swooped in and saved me. I am truly a lucky girl. It would have been so much more disappointing to be the girl who saves herself.
And here I was, feeling guilty for taking your kills. I don't think I'll ever understand you, Princess.
You wouldn't be the first.
I guess it don't make much difference now. But how did you get here?
Well, I remember waking up in a sack and hearing your Khajiit friend arguing with someone over price. The other person asked how fresh the corpse was, and he said very fresh. Too fresh, apparently, seeing as I was still alive. Then I went back to sleep. The next time I woke up, I was on the table over there, much to the surprise of everyone. Is that what happened? Here I thought these men were fighting for my affections. Although it does explain the sack. I am rather hurt. But as I have made a living out of disappointing necromancers, I suppose all's fair. And by the way, it is so typical of you to forget this Khajiit cannot be trusted. It must be because of the fur. You confused him with a kitten.
Usually I don't have to remember. I just kill the people who cross me. But Jashar and I never were on opposite ends of the battle. In the pit, or outside of it. It being Kesmet and all.
And you say I'm hard to understand?
So, what's our next move? Like I said, unless we kill this cat soon, I'll probably end up forgetting the whole thing. We need to boil this son of a Daedrith while my blood's still simmering. But it's not like you'll be waiting for us at the pits. Yeah, I noticed you talking to him earlier. Might be a good place to start. Jashar made a lot of enemies back in the arena, and it's likely he's kept old habits in the pit. Whether it's the elf or someone else, we go back there, I'm sure you'll find someone with a bone to pick.
Didn't expect to see you two back here. Or is it 3 now? Ah yes, the cat. Everybody wants to know where the cat is. But not everybody is willing to pay the toll. Of course, as much as I despise the cat, I ain't the sort to go squealing on a pitmate. At least, not for anything less than 1,000 gold. You're better off asking the lady. She'll give you a fair deal.
Well, the information I've got may not be worth a wooden septim. But that doesn't mean I'll sell it for less than 200 gold ones. True. Having him out of the way would make my life easier. On the other hand, so would 200 septims. Now, that wasn't so hard, was it? All right, I'll tell you what I know. Fair's fair. There was a name written on the back of one of his betting slips. Now, I don't know if he let me see it on purpose, but it's all I know. The name was Orotheim. Some cave over in Yarmarch. I'd look for him there.
I guess that's that. All those times I wondered what it'd be like to face Jashar in the arena. And the poor sod was no different than the rest. It's like waiting all day to eat a bowl of Horker stew, and tasting chicken on your tongue instead.
Food, food, food. It is always about food with you, isn't it? You were friends once, right? Say something nice.
You mean like a speech or something? I ain't so good at that. But I guess now that he's dead, there ain't no point being raw. Jashar, you and me didn't always see eye to eye. I mean, you weren't all bad, but just enough where I couldn't let it slide. Rest easy.
No, that wasn't so hard, was it?
Harder than killing him, that's for sure. Well, that's the end of it. One less double-crossing, scheming pit dog in the world. Now it's time to find something to eat. Zora's right. Ain't much I like to do, other than killing folks and eating horkers. Since we got one out of the way, all I can think about is the other. When you fight in the arena, pretty much every day you're saying goodbye to somebody. So you sort of don't get too attached. Jashar was about as close to a friend I had in the arena, but it still wasn't all that close. It ain't like with me and you and Princess over there. We're never going to be on opposite ends of that cage. That's the way I like it. Living outside the pit. We're free to go whichever way the bandit blows. I'm just glad to have you along for the ride.